a date?
I'm not sure.
Well, yeah, I don't know when the second hearing is.
Okay, all right, we're going to start the meeting, and we'll start the meeting with the pledge, please.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay, thanks for coming, everybody. We'll start with the approval of the agenda. Anything, Dan? Dwayne?
Nothing to add.
Brian?
Nope.
Okay, Mel's not going to be here tonight. There was something at work that came up. And I've got one addition under H2 lawn mowing contract, which is in front of all of you at the desk. I entertain a motion to approve the agenda as changed.
I'll make that motion.
Thanks, Dan. Do I have a second?
Second.
Thanks, Ryan. All in favor, state aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Consent agenda. Any questions for administration or corrections?
Do we have any other added documentation with all of the liquor licenses?
I've got a whole pile right here. Actually, good question. The police chief did give us reports on each one of the institutions. I know that's a question that's come from the past, so if anybody has questions about incidents or anything like that, there were a couple of the institutions that are did have incidents last year, but nothing that we found typically unusual. I mean, that's typical to see a certain number of things that get dealt with that with whenever liquor's involved, but they weren't out of line in terms of what we saw. So, but I do have those here, so if anybody would like to look at them, I'm certainly glad to share that.
Okay. Any other questions? Okay, entertain a motion to approve.
So moved.
Thanks, Dwayne. Do I have a second?
Second.
Thanks, Ryan. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. I don't have any visitors tonight. Mayor's report.
Forget.
The only thing in the mayor's report is just to remind council and staff on March 5th here at City Hall is our planning session from 8 to scheduled till noon. So just a reminder of that. Public forum, I don't have any cards. We'll move down to E, the tax abatement for Hamilton Real Estate Group. Tim, if you want to go over the details of that, and then we'll open up public hearing for anybody that has something to...
Sure. We have this, and the council has reviewed it a number of times, so including your package, you have a couple of items, a resolution and then some other documents. Basically, we're looking at is a parcel that was purchased by the city last year. There's a desire for some development, and what we're contemplating doing is a tax abatement in order to assist with construction of residential multifamily type of housing, which has been identified as a priority. And it, included in your packet, I have the governance, the creation, basically how the state created this. In statute, it's for specific purposes, and the purposes that we're looking at tonight are basically that there's a tax base increase. We found that it would be a benefit to the city, and the cost would be at least equal to the cost of the abatement, because this project would not happen without public assistance. And the other one would be a potential increase for employment and labor force opportunities within the city. So those are the two criteria that we're meeting based on statute. The individual components, we're looking at an 8-year tax abatement with a maximum of up to $440,000 over that period of time. There's some other terms that would be negotiated, but the actual abatement itself, those are really the straightforward terms. So I'd say any questions, I think everyone who's been involved is aware of it, and during the public hearing, I'm sure the folks from Hamilton Real, if they'd like to address us, will do so.
Okay. Any questions for Tim on that, Ryan? Anything? No, we've been over this several times, so I think we're comfortable with what's going on. Okay, we'll open the public hearing for anyone who has anything to say regarding the tax abatement. Thank you.
Good evening, Mayor, Council Member, County Administrator, City Administrator. Ryan Nowader. I was at the county last night. I've been jumping from meeting to meeting on this, but Ryan Nowader, Hamilton Real Estate. We greatly appreciate you guys considering this abatement project for our multifamily housing project. The project still remains the same as we had proposed previously. We're still asking for the same request that is in front of you tonight. A couple of things that have come up that are really important, why this is important, the but-for test of it. We've seen that construction costs have just gone crazy. They're on the news 2 nights ago saying it's a 50-year high that we're seeing, and we just found out today that there might be lumber costs that are going to maybe go up another 20 to 25 by June or July. So any assistance will really help with this. The other thing is interest rates are increasing significantly. When we were proposing this back in October, November, we were projecting at 3.5% interest. Interest rates are now up 4.25%. We see those continuing to go up. So the assistance is important for us to be able to make the numbers work, which you've had the spreadsheet. Another thing I just want to touch on, the local paper put an article out last week that said, hey, it's moving forward. The title did. Now inside of it, it didn't say that, but then the title did. I just want to explain that we still have a lot of steps. One of them was last night. The county did approve their abatement project. The next one was with you guys. Tomorrow we're meeting with the city engineer and staff to talk about the site layout. We're going to figure out if the building will fit and how it will configure on the property. From there, we will finish a design, then we'll go to construction bidding, financing, investors. So there are a lot of steps left in that project, but this is the big one here to get to that next level so that we can push forward with our performers and getting all the construction numbers. So, again, we appreciate you taking the time to review this, and we're here, we're all here, Chad and Ari and I, if you have any questions. So, thank you.
Thank you very much. You'll be happy to know the newspaper emailed me the other day and wanted a map of exactly where the building was gonna go, so I said, well, you know, I messaged him and said, get him the map we have. I said, but it's subject to change and probably will change, so I'm not sure I would put that in the paper.
That's what I told him yesterday.
Okay. So if you see a picture of the map, it was just, that's the...
I think it'll be in there tomorrow.
Okay, all right, so I figured. Okay, so any questions or comments from council? I mean, I think we've been over this. I think it meets, or I know it meets what we've been trying to do for the last 5 years as far as multi-family housing and that type of thing, the opportunities of the city, so. Ryan, anything?
I think it'd be a great addition.
Yep,
Okay.
no additional.
I'll ask for a motion to approve the resolution.
I'll make that motion.
Thanks, Ryan. Do I have a second?
I'll second that.
Thanks, Dan. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Approving the property tax abatement related to Hamilton Real Estate Project 2022. So, thank you, gentlemen. Appreciate it. Appreciate your wanting to make an investment in the community. So, look forward to it. All right, yes. Okay, on to new business, resolution approving
Addendum
to the
Meadows
Meadows.
Development Agreement.
Okay.
And I would just note that they are looking to move forward with their next phase, and so that's why this addendum is necessary. I know the city engineer and city attorney have discussed it, and I think we're on the right steps there. If you guys want to talk about it all, that's fine.
So, this has already been, they're just moving on with the next step, right? So that's the addendum? I mean,
Correct, so we approved a preliminary final plat, construction plans for, I think it's about 15 lots in the Castle Meadows area. The development agreement was for the first phase, which was 5 lots. This is for the second phase, which is about an additional 5 lots. So we're amending the initial development agreement, having those same terms,
Okay.
just laying out that this is for the next 5 lots.
Okay.
So there'll likely be a third phase for that project in the coming years.
Sure.
Presumably everything goes well, so.
okay. No other changes to the terms or anything, no, everything's there. Okay,
It's just to make sure we have the right surety and the letter of credit in place.
got it. All right. Any questions on that? Okay, entertain a motion.
I'll move to approve.
Thank you. Do I have a second?
Second.
Thanks, Ryan. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. We added H2, lawn mowing contract, which is on your desk.
So we had a successful year last year, which was aided, of course, by the very dry weather we had. Actually, the mowing, we saved quite a bit of money on mowing last year because we didn't need to mow quite as much. But working with Jeremy's, the city public works director has worked with him to maintain the same price for the mowing this year, which in light of increases in fuel costs, we felt was a pretty good deal. And he has asked us to consider also, he'd like to look at a 23 and 24 option, which you would see there would be a $50 increase per, for the rate. But that's something we don't necessarily have to approve tonight, but I mean, if you're open to that, I think we do feel like locking those numbers in helps us with our budgeting. One thing that we'll be looking at doing is we will be shifting more acreage very, very likely in the near future into this program, especially we do have some staffing changes coming this fall where we'll probably be looking at shifting our personnel into more high-value position and work as opposed to some of this a little bit more straightforward mowing and that sort of thing. So.
Okay.
So you can disregard the number at the bottom there, that is just, he added up the years, but the per mole cost, just so we all understand it, per mole cost would be $1,550 for 2022, and then 2023, 2024 would be $1,600 per mole. And they give us an estimate, usually between 20 and 25 moles a summer. However, they do work with us. Last year, there were a number of times when Charlie called them and said, we don't need you to come this week. Which, of course, it's savings to us. It also is kind of stupid to be mowing dead grass. You know, obviously, residents are very cognizant of that, so we try to keep that in mind, too. So, just so we're aware of what those numbers are.
Okay. And the same areas are being mowed?
77 acres this year, and then, like I said, there's a potential probably in '23 that will add some additional mowing acreage to that, so.
Okay. All right. So,
Remind me, does it include the cemetery?
It does.
It does include the
Which was
cemetery.
really one of our biggest cost savings last year, because I think the overall cost of that by itself in previous years was something like $12,000 or $13,000. And so we really, we basically cut our cost there in half, and we didn't have any complaints. People thought they did a good job, and it's amazing when they hit an area, I think they've got like 5 people running. You know, like the cemetery, they'll have, 3 mowers and 2 weed whippers coming behind them, and they'll get that done in a couple hours. So it's a pretty quick enterprise, so.
Do we need to take this to bid, or is that low enough where we don't have to, because we're already in a contract with them?
We don't have to bid. I mean, the first year is an option. We can just accept that option. When the council approved it, that was something that was involved with that. I do bring the other 2 up because I do feel like those would be something we could just budget. However, it's certainly up to you. If you'd like us to take it to bid, we only had 2 successful bidders last year. We had a third that withdrew after he felt like he couldn't make the terms work. And I do feel like it's certainly up to council, but
If it's a fair
if we can
price.
lock in a lower price, I do think it's worth it, so.
If it's a fair price, I don't know, I've never paid for that, so, just asking.
for that many acres, yeah.
Well, I would make a motion that we move forward with 2022, 2023, and 2024 at the price he's listed.
Okay, we have a motion. Is there a second?
I'll second that.
Okay, any further discussion? Okay, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, motion carries. Thank you.
That price.
Administrator's report.
Sure, and you've got my report in Dropbox. So I did have a good conference, was very interesting, and I kind of talk about the speakers that I got to hear. The first topic we talked about was kind of a global trade and labor. Basically, the news is bad. Global trade and labor is going to be an issue. Unfortunately, for our electric department, it means that the ability to get basic supplies is really limited. Right now, I think they're back 3 reels of wire they've ordered that could be 6 months, could be, who knows. The problem that we have is with the growth in the community, it's just hard for them to even run electric to a subdivision. You know, we've got 57 covered, which was a top priority for us this year. We think we have Comet Acres pretty well covered, but as I detail, I'll talk a little bit later, we do have some other subdivisions that are going to be coming in. So, it's just an issue that everyone's, it's a huge challenge. I talked about, in my report, I also looked at cybersecurity. That was a question that came up, the reliability, especially with solar coming in. There are a number of people that connected last year with their distributed energy. There were 3 out of 4 projects that were successful, and they've been connected in. And as a result, the revenue that we see on those customers is significantly diminished, probably about 50% lower than it would be normally. At the same time, we still have to provide that, constant power to them. So the changing the way that we charge for rates is something that's definitely going to be coming, using time of use. And also, as you noted, last year we had that electric report that said basically we need to go away from usage rates to the base rate. Because, we still have to provide those services to everyone, which means that we need to go to a higher base rate and lower use rates, because as that's more penetration with the solar project, it's getting more difficult to fund. And then there were a couple other things, too, we talked about. It was very interesting. It was very fascinating for me to talk to other people in the field, a lot of towns of our size, but there were also some very big utilities there, too, represented. So, anyways, you can read that over. I have a couple other things just to run through. In front of you did receive that letter based on a request from the contractor for the library. We had requested that they remove the gentleman from the management position, and so you can read through that. I just wanted to note the planning and zoning has had kind of a quiet start to the year, which has been nice, I think, for the members. However, that's at an end. On Friday last week, we received 3 applications for new subdivisions, and 2 of those will involve additional annexation in the city as well. So we'll be looking at those over the next couple of months, getting those plats up to speed, and the annexations we expect in March to come to the council for hearings. So that's coming up. Laterals update, Linda's provided me with an update. We had a number of folks, thanks Dave, he did a good job getting his stuff all figured out, so they won't be, of the 5 that we had, there are 2 that were able, I believe, to deal with them. There were 3 that will be charged in the next month because we didn't get a response, or we didn't get a sufficient response. So those are some updates, and the last thing I have, which is good news as well, that tomorrow we have a hearing with the Minnesota House, Representative Quam's bill for our water retention project, for the bonding proposal is moving forward. We'll be testifying, Brandon and I will be involved with that, and then I expect Senator Senjum and the Senate side to have that later this spring. So it's exciting to see that move forward. It could be a real good thing. So those are the things I just wanted to highlight.
Okay, thank you. Any questions for the Administrator? Okay, thank you very much.
Nope, we're good.
Okay. On the personnel, number 1, accept retirement of Deputy Chief McAndrews. Jim McAndrews served the fire department for 20 years and has decided after his year leave of absence to retire. So I'll make the recommendation to accept his retirement and thank him for his service. Do I have a second?
I'll second that.
Thanks, Dan. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. And then correspondence, open book meeting at Dodge County. It's always exciting if you want to go.
Well, I mean, it's a big thing for folks who have issues with their valuation. You know, in the fall, we always hear about people coming and saying, oh, my taxes are too high. Well, the valuation is really what has determined over the last 5 years what people's taxes are. So if someone has an objection to their taxes, then they should go to the valuation hearings. We really encourage that for folks.
This is the big one, because they're gonna get their notice here, their tax bill at the end of March, and then in there it tells them about this meeting. So if you're anybody that's complained about property taxes and you look at their statement, you see the valuation's gone up a ton, this is where they can go address that. And if they wait till after this meeting, it's just done. There's no way to do anything, so thanks for putting that in there. With that, just a reminder about the work session on the 5th, the Saturday the 5th, which is a week from Saturday. We'll see everybody there, and I'll entertain a motion for adjournment.
I'll make that motion.
Thanks, Dan. A second?
Second.
Brian, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Thanks for coming, everybody.
What's the population of Castle now?
6,852.